We're studying IGCSE ICT and we're starting chapter 11, File Management 1. To recap, we just finished input-output devices, everything is done in that. We looked at, we'll be doing questions on that later, but first and first, we'll start our practical chapter as well. So agenda on this class is all about, let's see, go to the book. Now this is the chapter right here. Our goal is to learn about how you can locate files, how you can add files, save files, display different files in different ways, and also compress them. Let's start by reading from here. Rania, read all of this.
Where?
Can you see the book? No, you cannot.
No.
Now can you see it?
Yeah. Locate stored files.
Not that one, not that one, this one.
Manage files effectively. Manage files. Make sure that you are familiar with file structure of your local system. If you're using standard alone computer system, files are likely to be stored on local hard drive, disk drives, or solid state drives. If you're using a network system, files are likely to be stored on a network drive, usually in a secure area where only you have access. These can be managed, viewed, and accessed using the program File Explorer.
All right, stop. Now, one thing we need to realize is we have the File Explorer. That's all they're telling. All this fancy jargon is just to tell you that to access your files, they're either going to be a network drive or your local hard disk drive. So we know that that's where your files are stored. Where are the files stored? Files are stored on the hard disk drive or the solid state drive. You can have any of these. Now they look different. They are different types of hardware, but in terms of the digital structure, they're not that different. Hard drive the location in the same way. So files are located where? In local hard disk or the network drive. If you're connected to a network system. What is a network system? Let's say if you go to your school, in your school you have all these computers like your computer lab and everything. Those are connected together with a network. And your teacher can send some files over there directly, and you can get files on your computer lab directly. That's basically a network system. But your home system is not a network system, it's a local system. So you have local hard disk or local solid state drives. So let's go down. The first thing we're going to do is you open the File Explorer, right? You go to search and you open it. Fine. You can, I think that's fine. You can locate stored files. How do you locate it? The location of every file is given in the right pane, the top right pane over here. Can you see this? This one. Let's look at a folder, shall we? Zahara, Niranjana, can you hear me? Good evening.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Niranjana.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to class. Yeah. Now we're starting chapter 11. One thing we need to look at is this. I'll show it to you. Now, if you look at this folder, can you see the folder right here?
Yes.
Yes, all right. Just a second. Now we have all of these right here. This is basically a navigation pane. This right here is called the navigation pane. Okay, I can write anywhere I want. Now, what else do we have? This is your file name or file location, right? I hope that's clear. Now, this right here is the file name. That's the location. File location, that's your file name. Or I can also say the folder location, if you want to be exact about it. Folder location. Now, how do I locate a file? Well, you can see that this folder is located in this PC, Then from there, I have to go to the desktop. And from desktop, I have to open another folder, which is this one. And inside that folder, I have this file, which is tbs.html, some file. Fine. Okay, that's how things look around here. Now, the main thing is this one, the file. This is called the file name. Okay. File names are very important. Why? Because you have to use them or you have to add them to other programs. So these are used, file names are used to import files. Now let's say if I go to a class or if someone comes to my class, okay, if Alan comes to my class and he asks me, who is Rania, or he will ask for, he's asking for a specific student. How will he ask? Or how will he ask for a specific student? Tell me. By what characteristic? I need the mics on first. That's the rule of my class. Mics on throughout the class. Come on, hurry up. Or you're going out of class. I've gotten one person. Others? Mics on. Rania?
Yes, sir.
All right. I need mics on throughout the class. No turning on and off, no unnecessary effort. Right? There's absolutely no reason to put more effort than is required. Now we have this right here. I'm asking you a question. If let's say Alan were to come to my class, all right? I don't know why he would do that, but he came to my class and he would ask you. He would ask for a specific student. How will he ask, or by which property will he ask for someone or some student?
Like their name?
Their name, okay. So I can say I want Rania from this class, right? So that's the name right there. So whenever you want to find someone or something, you need the name, right? I hope that makes sense. Let's go back to the whiteboard. Now we'll go back to the book now. Can you see the book?
No, sir.
No, just a second. Now you can. Now this is right here is my file location. I've gotten that. I've gotten my file name as well. Now, how do you open files? How do I open a file? Right? This is my file right here. If I have to open it, I can right click it. And after right click, it will give me a lot of options and I can go to open with. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Open with. Now throughout your class in web development, you need to know all of these things already. Because I'll be asking you to open your notepad. All these files are for web development. This is for
So do
other
we have
batch.
to make all these files?
Say that again.
So do we have to make all these files?
Yes, you have to make all these files.
Okay.
You have to make .html, .css, all of these files. There's more. There are images and videos. That's it. So if I have to open this HTML with something like a notepad, I'll go to open with. I'll choose notepad, and that will open my file differently with a specific folder. Let's see right here. Now this is my notepad right here. It has a lot of content in it. Fine. But I don't want to open it with the browser, perhaps, or maybe I want to open it with some other software. So I'll use open with. The next thing we have is, I hope that's clear. Any questions about open with?
No.
No. You know how to open it, right? You can open a file. That's easy. Next thing. Now I want to save files in a structure, in a hierarchical directory folder structure. What does that mean? And how do I pronounce this word? But to pronounce it, it's hierarchical, right? That's basically how you say it. Now, what does this mean? This basically means, let's say, a structured based on, let's say, based on some some property. Now I can base my hierarchy based on properties such as how old someone is, or how popular someone is, or how important someone is. All of those are hierarchies. But in this case, what they mean is, let's say I want to have a folder. Okay, inside my web practice, I want to have another folder which should have, let's say, some other files. I'll say uh, I want to organize my files. So I'll say I need all the txt files in one folder, or all the HTML files in one folder. This is creating a hierarchy because I have different kinds of files and different kinds of folders, and there's a structure. I think that's clear. And we're just doing all of this in a proper way. So we put things in a perfect, let's say, structure. There's one more thing we have to do. Well, what if I already have tbs.html? Can you see the file right here? tbs.html.
Yes.
Now I'll copy this and I'll paste it. Now I want let's say I want to make another file just like this with the same name. Maybe I'm making a change to it. All right. So what I'll do is I'll add a version number to it. I'll say this is v. This is v1. Let's say v version 2, and I save it. I also keep over here. This is version 1, v1. The next thing I could say is v3. That's version 3. So as I keep making changes to my files, I like to have a control on which file is oldest, which file is the newest. So clearly we realize that version 3 is the latest file, right? Any questions on that?
No.
Right? No? Niranjana?
Yeah, sir.
Let's see what is version control.
Okay.
Read this out loud, Niranjana.
You can see that each. You can see. You can see that each file has been saved with a meaningful file name that includes a version name. This is called version control.
This is version control. This helps you basically have a clear planned structure and you know which files are older. Now look, version 3.01, 3.02, 3.03. You can make some numbers like this. Let's go downwards. The next thing we have is how do I make just a second. Okay, they're basically telling us to make new folders. So how do you make a new folder? You go to, let's say, your folder and you just click new folder. You get yourself a new folder. You can name it. They're asking you to name it sources. So I name it sources. I have gotten a new folder now. Another way of making a new folder is new folder. I hope that's clear. Next thing. Now save files using appropriate file names. Please make sure that you use correct names, meaningful names. Next thing is display files. Okay, just a second. Let's go down. Now, we're looking at how to display files now. But in this case, I want to organize them in a clear way. I need to know a lot more. Right now, Rania, can you see when was this file created? Let's say TBS version 1. Can you see when this was created? Yes, no. Anywhere on the board, can you see when the date this file was created?
No.
No, you cannot. Now, can you? Date modified?
Yes. Yeah.
The date is given, the time is given, right? So, okay, what if I want something else? I want to see more things. I want to see when it was created. So that's date created. This was date last modified. This was created on this date, and the time was the last change I made was this was at 7:41 p.m. Now, what if I want more things, such as I want to see, let's say, what can I know about a file? I can know who created the file, right? So let's see author. Authors. Can you see this word? Authors. If I say, okay, I'm not getting any authors right here, it's blank because I haven't set it. So I can go to file properties. And over here, I can go to details and I can set an author. Well, it's not in your syllabus, you don't have to set author, but basically if you want more details, you can get that from the detailed view, and by right clicking it, you have more options here. You have categories, you have tags, you have titles, everything. So that is what that is the meaning of displaying files in a directory folder. So you get more information about it. Now, all of these things, name, date modified, type, size, are the things which are basically properties of a file, which you may need to know. Let's say for creating a file, or maybe when you're sharing it with someone, you have to tell them what kind of file is it. Is it big? So when you're sharing it, you need to know what size the file is as well, right? If it's let's say it's 10 GB, you can't really send it on an email or WhatsApp. You can't share the 10 GB files. Something, let's say this was 10 GB. You can't share it on WhatsApp. But what if this was 36 KB like it is? So I can easily share it. Now, next thing is, so we got date created, right? That's what I showed you. How do we get date created? Right click it and go over there and choose date created. That's right here. If I untick this option, I say okay, that thing vanishes. Now, anything else? How can I take a screenshot? Zahara, do you know how to take a screenshot?
On a mobile or
Computer, not a mobile. Now
no.
we're not even talking about mobiles anymore. Zahara, Safa, not Safa. Niranjana, do you know how to take a screenshot on a computer?
Yes, sir.
How?
Shift, then this, sir, I don't know what to say for this, and then S.
Shift, then S. Shift, then this, and then S. All right. Now that is the Windows key.
Yeah, that one.
That one, the Windows key. Now, so that's what they're saying. Windows key logo, Shift S. That will open a snipping tool. There's another way you can do it. That's called print screen.
Yeah, print screen, but it is not there in laptops. It's mostly there in computers.
So we're going to use Windows logo Shift key. Now, this is actually important when you're going to submit your practical exam. They'll ask you to take a screenshot of all the files you had. So they know that what files were inside your folder. That's all. Now that's it. That's it. Save, export, print files in a variety of formats. Let's see how we can save files. Now, okay. If I create a .txt file, can you see it on the board? Just a second, not this one, not this one. Now can you see the text file over here on the screen?
Yes.
Now can you see that at the end of the name there's something called read the name, Rania, the full name of the file.
J31text.txt.
.txt. Now what is this txt right here? Or what is this HTML right here? That .css. What are these things? These are called file extensions. What are they?
File extensions.
File extension, that they tell us what type of file we have. Let's write it on the whiteboard actually. Now this is more about talking and it's more about understanding than basically writing. File extension describes type of file. Examples could be .mp4, all of these are file extensions. Now, can you hear me properly? Is there a background noise?
Sir. No,
Because
no.
they're celebrating over here. There's a lot of fireworks outside. Now, continue. Class, back to class, right? Now we have file formats. Well, these are file extensions. Look, .gif file extension. We also have .csv file extension, .txt file extension, .rtf. We'll look at all of these later. Again, but right now, let's talk about how do we save files. So if you see over here, you should see that I have a .txt file. When I click File and I go to Save As, it will give me an option to save it wherever I want. So I can say, I can save it as, I will change the extension now. I'll make it .html and I'll choose all files. When I do that, you'll realize a new file will be created. Let's call it a test file, which instead of having .txt as the file extension, it will have .html. If I do that, I go outside and I see that I have this test file right here, right? Test file. Okay, now Zahara, read from here.
Comma-separated values. These files have a CSV file extension. This file type takes data in the form of tables that could be used with a spreadsheet or database and saves it in text format, separating data items with commas.
So it's comma separated values, which are basically tables. Niranjana, read the next one.
Text, these files have txt file extensions. A text file is not formatted and can be opened in any word processor. Rich text format, these files have a RTF file extension. This is a text file type that saves some of the formatting within the text.
So this saves formatting. It's like Word. Okay. RTF has formatting. What is format? Such as you say, you can choose bold, italic, etc. That is formatting. We can also have color, text color. All of those are formatting. But txt file does not have any formatting. And it can be opened with word processor, but it has no format. Next thing is GIF file. Rania, read this out loud.
Graphics
Only the highlighted part. Highlighted part.
Change format. These files have a GIF file extension. This format stores still or moving images.
That's it. Now continue from here, Rania.
Joint photographic expert group. These files have .jpg or sometimes .jpeg. This format stores still images but does not store moving images.
The moving images, and they're good for storing images with a smaller file size. So what is it good for? An efficient method for storing files with a smaller file size. Now, let's look at the next one then. Portable document format, that's PDF. Zahra, read from here. Only the highlighted part.
Portable document format, PDF file extension.
Read the highlighted part.
The pages look like just they would when they are printed, but can contain clickable links and buttons, form fields, video and audio. In PDF format, you can protect a document to stop others from editing it.
Now we have PNG. Niranjana, read.
Portable network graphics, PNG file extension. It is a file format that compresses graphics image files without any loss of image quality. It was
So,
created
just a
to
second,
replace.
stop. Now, this is used for storing images without loss of any image quality. So PNG is for image quality. PNG is for quality. While JPEG is for small size. Now, if you have small size, then the quality will decrease. And if you have more quality, then the file size will be more. So PNG usually have a greater file size than JPEG. JPEG are good for a smaller file size, while PNG is good for without any image quality. They're good for image quality. All right. Now we also have videos, audios, and we have website stuff. Let's look at that. Rania, start reading. Only the highlighted part.
Moving Pictures Expert Group Layer 4. These files have .mp4 files extension. It's not a single file format, but it's a multimedia container which is used for storing video files, still images, audio files, subtitles, extra.
All right. Now, basically, the MP4, which we know is used to store videos. The next we have audio, which is MP3. Rania, read. Just the highlighted part only, just that.
Moving Pictures Expert Group Layer 4 .mp3.
.mp3, and these guys are files are relatively small. Just a second. Used for storing audio files, and are relatively small but near CD quality.
Used for storing audio files. The file sizes are relatively small, but with near CD quality.
Okay, and we have CSS. What is CSS now? CSS is cascading style sheet. Just a second. Read from here. Zahra, read the highlighted part. Quick.
From cascading style sheets, these files have a CSS file extension is attached to one or more web pages, often written in HTML to define the pages, color scheme, fonts, etc.
etc. Now, basically, it's a CSS file. They're used in HTML, and they are attached to web pages for color schemes and everything, fonts, color schemes and stuff. So they're attached with web pages. These are used for websites. Hypertext markup language. Niranjana, read.
Hypertext markup language. These files have HTML or sometimes HTML file extension.
Niranjana, I cannot hear you.
You can't hear me?
Now I can hear you. Speak closer to the microphone.
Oh, okay.
Or speak louder.
Hypertext markup language. These files have HTML or sometimes
All right, stop. Now, next one. Now, basically, we have HTML for website and CSS for websites, MP3 for video, MP4, MP3 for audio, MP4 for video. That is everything on video, audio, and website. Then we also have JPEG and PNG for images. .pdf is for documents. .gif is for moving images. And let's go downwards. We have two more things. A .rar file, a Russian archive file, or a zip file. Rania, read the highlighted part.
Partial archive. These files have .rar files extension. This is a container which can hold almost any file type in a compressed format. It is used to reduce the number of bytes needed to save a file.
Okay, now look right here. This was made by a Russian software engineer, Eugene Roshin. He was pretty famous and quite respected. Now, when he developed this file extension, he gave people put the name Roshan Archive because the whole job point of this file is to have an archive or save files by saving the number of the storage, or how big the files are, saving the number of bytes. If I say I have a 10 MB file, but if I put it in an archive, if I archive it to a .rar file, it will become about, let's say, 8 MB or 5 MB. So that's half the file size. I can go from 10 MB to 5 MB. So archives allow us to save file storage and then they group files together. Zip does the same thing. It also is used to decrease the file size, exactly the same thing as archive, right? .zip and .archive are the same thing. That finishes it. Now I'm going to ask questions from all three of you. Are you ready? Do you have any questions first? Ask me. Any doubts? Anything?
No, sir.
Then I'll ask you a question. First, let's see. Whoever answers it gets 1 point. Okay, then we have Zahara, we have Niranjana, we have Rami. The first question is, what is used to store an audio file? Give me the file extension.
Sorry, can you repeat the question again?
What is stored? What is used to store an audio file? Give me the file extension.
.mp3.
.mp3, that's Rami, 1. Next question. Let's say, what file extension is used to store moving images?
Moving images export MP4.
MP4, okay. Moving images. No, that's wrong. Not
Why?
MP4. Because look right here what's written. Let's see. Read this, Niranjana.
Still images, audio files, substitutes. This
It
convey.
has still images, not moving images. Still
Okay.
images. But I need moving images. Anyone else? The answer is .gif. Right here. So what is it used for? Let's see. Moving images. Can you see that? Zara, Niranjana.
Yes, I saw it.
Saw it. Okay. Next question. What is the use of .png file?
So what?
What is the use of .png file? The one who answers first gets the points, right? So I'll ask you the question on the board. What is the use of .png file? That's the question.
Or digital images.
Say that again, louder.
Digital images, like
Stores
better
and digital
quality.
images. Better, say that again. Better what?
Better quality for storing
Quality.
digital images. Yeah.
Digital images with better quality. Zahra gets one. Next question. What is the use, or let's say, how do we store a video in how do we store a video file? What is the file extension for a video file?
.mp4.
.mp4. Okay, Rania got 2. What is the file extension for audio with audio is on? What is the file extension for storing images with small file size? Storing images with small file size.
MP3.
MP3, no. Images with a small at smaller file size. So images at smaller file size. Who can give me the answer? No one? The answer is .jpeg. Read this quick, Zara. Only the pink part.
Storing images using a smaller file size.
Is that clear? Now, so answer is, what is the answer for images with a smaller at a smaller file size? What extension do we use? Dot
.jpeg.
JPEG. Dot JPEG. Dot JPG. Basically that. Okay. Next one. What? Let's say, which file extension is used to create the content of a website? File extension used to create the content of a website.
.css.
No, that's not for content. That's for the style. That's the cascading style sheets for styling. It's the style of the web page. But I'm asking about the content of the web page, not the style. Now, one thing in my class is I don't like silence. So if you don't know the answer, you have to say I don't know. So I can tell you the
No.
answer. Or if you do know the answer, you have to tell me the answer. So who doesn't know the answer?
Me.
Is it .htm?
.html. Okay, the answer is, let's read this part, Ranjana, say it out loud. Or read this part
Hypertext
only. Yes.
used to create content that a web browser can display as a web page.
So what is
Okay.
okay? So what is the file extension then? To create the content of
So
a
it
page.
will be HTML.
.html. .html or HTML, basically. Right? Okay. Now, next thing, next question. Niranjana is at 0 right now. Zara is second place. The next question is, what, let's say, what file extension is used to style a web page?
CSS.
That's CSS.
Okay, so Niranjana gets that point. Rani also gets another point. You guys said it together almost. Now, last question. What file extension is used to store text files without any formatting?
RTS.
No, that's the wrong answer.
TXT.
Without any formatting.
TST.
So, okay, who gave the answer first? It was, I think, Niranjana. Okay. Now, Zahra, you're at the last place. Next question. What file extension is used to store files for spreadsheets?
Can you repeat
Rania,
the question?
I'll repeat the question. What file extension is used to store files for a spreadsheet?
.csv.
.csv. Used to store files for a spreadsheet. Zara, read this out loud.
Used with a spreadsheet.
Or database. And basically it is .csv. Otherwise, let's see. Last question. What is the use of a .rar file? .rar file, or what is the use of basically what is the use of .rar file extension?
To hold up the file, or we can save file with as many bytes we want.
Okay. Okay. No, this you can do better. I want you to say the answer again, in a more better way. Anyone else wants to try? What is the use of an archive file extension or .rar file extension?
It is just to reduce the number of bytes.
To reduce the number of files, right? Our job is to reduce the file size. Reduce the number of bytes. So used to. Zahra, read it out loud.
Used to reduce the number of bytes.
So you were correct, kind of. So you'll get a point. But Rania gave the exact answer. And that's it for now. Let's do to break the tie. We'll give another question. The last one. What file extension is exactly like a .rar file?
So can you repeat?
What file extension is similar to a .rar file extension?
Zip.
Zip.
So we get 3, 2, 5. .zip is similar to .rar file extension. Okay, because it has the same thing. It is used to reduce the number of bytes needed to save a file. Same thing. Okay. Now file compression. File compression. What is file compression? Compression is basically reducing the file size. What is compression?
Reducing
Write
the
in your
file
notebook.
size.
So write this in your notebook. File size. Write the extension as well. Now we have compression. Compression means reducing file size. Why? Why do we do this? To save disk space, or let's just say storage space, to reduce transmission time. Transmission is the same as sharing. So to reduce the time it takes to share something. Let's say if you want to share something to your friend, a movie, and it's taking too much time, you don't like that, you'll have to reduce the file size. Finish writing this, tell me when you're done.
Done.
Done? Zara, no,
Done.
Niranjana, Tanya, done.
Yes, sir.
Now let's go down one. How do we store it? How do we reduce the file size? Well, we know why we do it, you know what it is, but how do we do it? Well, we do it by, look, yep, so read the highlighted part, just a second, from here. Read this part out loud, Niranjana. Niranjana, read it.
Still, images can vary in size, lower resolution graphics, which are often used for web pages to speed up. The loading time of pages can be very small, but the higher the image resolution, the larger the file. Where possible, images file sizes must be kept small, but not too the small where the images become fixated so that they are not clear. This will remain resizing or resampling images files so that these requires less storage space and less time to load. Resizing will change the physical dimensions, width and height of the image, and resample changes the quality of the image. These elements will be studied in
All right,
chapter.
stop. Now we have done images. Now what about documents? Zara, read the highlighted part for documents.
If a document contains lots of formatting or lots of images, its file size tends to be quite large. Reduce the file size for transmission. If the file is not to be edited, turn the file into portable document format using the File tab, followed by Export. Export, select the Create PDF XPS button.
All right. Now basically you can, if you have a file it's taking too much space, you can save it as a PDF. So this is my Word document, right? And it has 3000 kilobytes of storage. But if I save it as a PDF, it has only 600 bytes or 700 kilobytes. That's a very a big compression of file, because compression is basically reducing file size, right? So you can save it as a PDF file for documents. For images, you have to edit it. So to make sure that the resolution is small. So you need to use lower resolution for images, and for documents, you have to save them as PDF. Save as portable document format or PDF. Now that's it. And now there's another way which we can use a zipped folder or zip.zip, right? Remember this, we had this .zip. It was used to reduce the number of bytes or reduce the file size, which is the same as .rar. These guys can also be used to reduce the file size. How do we do it? Let's see. Can you see the folder on the screen?
Yes.
Now, if I select these three files, well, let's first look at the size of these files. Just a second. How big are they? Now, well, they're not that big. Okay, they're kind of small. Let's take something, a bigger file. Just a second. If I save it now, guys, can you see the size of this file right here? It's 80 KB, right? 80 kilobytes.
Yeah.
Now, if I right click it, and I'll go to add to archive. Can you see that option, add to archive? I'll click
Yes.
that, and it will create an archive right here. It will ask me what kind of file do I want. Do I need .rar, .zip? I'll say I want a .rar file, and I'll just click OK, and I get this file. Now, can you see the size? How much it has changed? The same file in a RAR file is 1 KB, but this is 80 KB. So 80 times the file size has reduced. Any questions? Look at this part. 80 KB, 1 KB. This was TXT. When I put this inside a RAR file, an archive, the file size reduced to 1 kilobytes only. Any questions?
No.
No. Let's go back. So you can use a compressed folder. You can use a .rar or .zip file. We'll do that later. Well, we'll look at questions on this later. Now, just a second. Okay, if I go below, well, that finishes my chapter. Okay, it doesn't have any questions on it, so we'll have to do questions for past papers. Now, one thing we need to realize is, how can I use all this information that I have just found out? Well, we'll do some questions on it. Just a second. Can you see the past paper on the screen? I don't think you can. Can you?
No.
Now, can you?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, this is the file we have. This is paper 2. Now, look, paper 2 is all about all these chapters. I'll show you. It's basically the first chapters. Paper 3 only has website and spreadsheets, nothing else. Everything else comes under these chapters. Well, if you think about data manipulation, if you see Access, Microsoft Access, database, Excel, everything is, no, Excel is spreadsheets, that's chapter paper 3, but everything else is in paper 2. You have 2 practicals, paper 2, paper 3. Now, in this chapter, we'll have file sizes. Let's see. Let's see the first question. First question is, read it. Niranjana,
Yes, sir.
read the question, first one.
Open the file J222 guide.rtx. The page setup is set to A4 portrait operation to 2 centimeter margins. Don't make any changes to the settings. 3 paragraph styles have already been created. Don't make any changes to these unless instructed. Save the document in your work area in the format of the software you're using with the file name cam madness. Take a screenshot to show this file has been saved, including evidence of the file type. Place this screenshot in your evidence document.
All right. So what you have to do is you have to first open this file. Okay. Then you have to save it with this name right here. And when you save it, you have to take a screenshot of your folder and save that screenshot in this folder called evidence document. All right. Any questions? Basically, yeah, you take this file which will be given to you in the exam. You open it, you change the name, you save it again. Don't make any changes. unless you're asked, obviously, and then take a screenshot. That's the first question. This is for 3 marks, right? 1 mark given to you. Next question. Well, this paper is for 80 marks, by the way. 80 marks. So 1 mark is not really that much. Next one. They're asking us about header, footer, header and footer. We'll do that afterwards. Just a second. Yeah. There are many steps here. Let's go to step number. Let's see. Now, okay. In this question, read the question, Zahra.
Using fields from both tables produce an extract which selects only the records where C is attracted, length meter is 25 or more, shows only the fields yash, name, length, M and C.
All right. Skip that part. Next is source data in ascending order. Length. All of this is we haven't done it yet. All of this is in database. When we do it, we'll get back to it. Now, when you save this extract, you have to save it in something. Now, so you have to save it as rich text format, and you have to take a screenshot again and place it in your evidence document. Right, so you need to know how to save things in a video. Now, if I look at the other questions, you have document, all of these, we'll do it later. Now, that just gives you an idea that you'll be asked for the file types and everything in the exam, and you need to be clear about them. Now, let's look at images. Just a second. Can you see the book on the screen?
Yes.
Yeah, now I can.